marked a huge milestone for Her Majesty the Queen as she became the first British monarch to reach her Platinum Jubilee after serving 70 years on the throne.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it?
So good.
Well, the Queen used this historic occasion to express her sincere wish that Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, will be known as Queen Consort when Prince Wales is crowned king.
Yeah, to discuss all the latest, we're joined in the studio now by our Royal Editor Camilla Tominey. So lovely to see you.
Where's my throne?
I know.
It's Queen Camilla.
It is Queen
So
Camilla.
I believe we
it
did
couldn't be more
I
perfect.
could do with a crown and maybe a sceptre.
Well, next time you're in.
Thank you so much. Well, is this controversial? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's been several years in the planning.
Yeah.
There's this sense, isn't there? I remember when I first started covering the royals, it was in 2005 when Charles and Camilla got married. And back then, she was still sort of treated like public enemy number one.
Absolutely,
and
I can remember.
were very loyal to Princess Diana's memory, and I think we can understand that. Nobody is trying to make excuses for what was poor behaviour during the marriage, OK? But we're now 25 years on nearly from Princess Diana's death in Paris in 1997. And what's the conclusion we drew from that wedding day? At the time, I remember looking at the couple at Windsor Guildhall, and Harry and William were there alongside them. There was a sense that they had accepted Camilla. In fact,
So the rest of us
well,
should,
William witnessed that wedding. And they both were at the reception afterwards, and there the Queen gave this speech, and she likened their relationship to, like, the Grand National, and that they'd made it over Beecher's Brook, and they'd cleared all the fences, and now they were at the finish line.
Oh, I like that.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And she's echoed that in the statement that she released for the Platinum Jubilee, basically saying, look, as monarch, I was stalwartly supported by my own husband, Prince Phillip. My father, George VI, had stalwart support from the Queen Mother. I can recognise that my son Charles needs that too. And equally, my daughter-in-law has earned this because, to be fair to her, despite all of the criticism, she's not really put a foot wrong since she married him.
Yeah.
No, she really hasn't.
Why was it so important for her to say this now?
Well, I think because she could have anticipated that it might be a point of debate when the time comes. I mean, that's how she's
weird,
referred to
isn't it?
We don't
It's really
like her
weird.
talking
No,
about
we
in the
don't.
fullness
me
of
neither.
time and when the time comes. But wasn't this about her saying, we're going to settle this now while I'm still on the throne so that there isn't a debate about it afterwards?
It's a lovely gift.
It's a lovely gift. And yes, yesterday was about reflecting on the last 7 decades, but the Queen hasn't been the success that she is today without having an eye on the future. And it's about preserving the monarchy and making sure that those who come next do maintain its popularity. We all know that Prince Charles has got enormous shoes to fill. I mean, this woman has been remarkable. Even in recent times, you can go back to when she was 21 and she declared her commitment to the Commonwealth for all of her life. And then we can look only recently to the We'll Meet Again speech for the pandemic, and it was equally as significant. And I think her role has changed in society in recent years in that we now see her not just as head of state, but very much as grandmother of the nation. We saw her opening those cards and looking at that fan from Queen Victoria and cutting that cake. And we feel really protective of her, and I think there's just this enormous outpouring of goodwill towards her. Now more than ever, she's lost her husband. She has had a second annus horribilis last year, there's no doubt about it. And I think what we also look forward to, I hope, is this Jubilee weekend in June, where finally, well, we can all get together and have street parties and actually celebrate the end of COVID, God willing, fingers crossed, as well as her remarkable 7 decades.
Yeah, it's a moment for the whole country, isn't
Exactly.
it? For many, many reasons.
But it doesn't put any question into her health why she's done this, does it?
No, I don't think so. We always expected a statement because it's 70 years. I actually was encouraged by seeing her in that footage yesterday and in some of the photographs. She looks fabulous in that photo. She's beaming from ear to ear. Although that is what she is like in real life. You know, people get this impression of her.
Oh, I love that picture.
I know, people get this impression of her that she is like she is on the stamps or the money or the coins. And when I've met her, I had a chat with her at a Diamond Jubilee reception, and she was so smiley and sparkly, much, much different to her kind of quite austere, sometimes public persona, because she doesn't smile on ceremony. She is unashamedly herself, but she's got a great sense of humour. She seems in great form.
Yeah.
The Jubilee's interesting as well. Somebody quite close to the arrangements sort of said to me recently, nothing is being done without her direct say-so involvement. You know, it's 70 years on the throne. Everything that is going to happen is happening because she wants it to happen.
That's how we want it to be.
Exactly.
You want to feel her hand across it because she's always right, quite frankly.
She's got her gimlet eye over every single detail, as you can imagine.
Prince Charles, his statement off the bat, like, you could almost feel the relief coming through it, you know.
He has hinted in the past because, interestingly, when they got married, they said she'd be known as Princess Consort, and then quite quietly over the course of the last few years, that wording has been removed from the Clarence House website. And we know for several years, aides have been poised to this announcement being made, but kind of worried about the timing. And apparently the Mail's reporting today that they wanted to say it in 2019 to mark his 50 years as heir apparent, but they
would have been nice,
it.
actually.
It would have, I suppose. They know there's some sense to which some people find this is a controversial move. Then you've got to throw the Crown into things. You know, the Crown has sort of fictionalised a lot of fact and cast things in a different light. Neither Charles nor Camilla come out of the Crown very well. However, I hope people watch it and conclude that they were actually always in love, and in many respects, they probably should have got married in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's not to denigrate Princess Diana, by the way, who, thank God, we had her in royal life.
Absolutely,
because
of course.
she was, like, one of the most inspirational women of the 20th century and transformed royalty, and people like her only come along once in a lifetime. But I personally think Camilla's earned her stripes on this.
Yeah, I do.
Do you think she's actually won the people's hearts? Because I do, because I can remember her coming into the studio.
She was so lovely.
And I thought she was absolutely lovely. She came round, she greeted everybody.
But this is the irony, right? She's the most vilified woman in the press, at least in the late 90s and early noughties, and yet when you go on royal jobs, sometimes you're there, you're voyeuristically there with your notebook or indeed the camera if you're a photographer, and you get ignored. You don't really have any eye contact made with you.
Yeah.
If you go on a job with Camilla, she'll bowl over and have a chat to you. And then the photographers love her because she looks straight down the lens. So as royals go, she's one of the most personable. Also, she doesn't just make Charles a happier man, but a better one.
Yeah.
Because she's a bit more down to earth.
Yeah.
And understands how the rest of us live, I think.
But as we've seen with the Queen,
thing.
it's so important to have that support from somebody in your life that you totally trust and love and care with. It makes all of us better people when we've got that. When you think back to when you were first reporting about her, though, and her role within the royal family, it was kind of, well, it was destroying. It was sort of polarising. Did you ever think we'd get to where we are now?
Well, I certainly not when I was working on the Sunday Express and we were getting a lot of letters that were very anti-her, very pro-Diana. Having said that, it's 2022. How many people watching this are in a blended family? You know, I've got a stepmother. My father remarried. It happens all the time. Sometimes the circumstances of people's marital breakdowns aren't ideal, and both sides are to blame. But what we're looking for, I think, in life is for people to be with the people that they love. And if he's in a happy marriage, that is going to make for a happier and better reign, I would suggest.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What about Meghan and Harry, then? Because there were sort of reports over the weekend with all the Jubilee stuff going out that they were very quiet on social media.
Yeah, to be fair, though, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge haven't said that much either. This has kind of been an event sort of reserved for Buckingham Palace and Clarence House involvement because it's about the Queen and her heir, rather than those a little bit further down the pecking order. People often say, you know, well, to what extent have William and Harry accepted Camilla? Well, to the extent that they can accept a stepmother that supports their father. And this is the other thing I would have thought from Prince Harry. He's away from home, he's in America. Would he rather his father was by himself? I doubt it.
I doubt it.
And
Absolutely.
equally, we know William and Catherine now have a close relationship with her. There was a good engagement last autumn at the Eden Project where Camilla and the Queen and Kate were at this event trying to cut this cake with a sword. And Camilla comes in and like, why they were giving the Queen a sword to cut a cake at the age of 95.
As you do.
As you do. And so those women, and let's not forget the Queen doesn't have her own mother, obviously, and she lost her sister, Princess Margaret, in the same year. So she's reliant on the other women in the royal family around her. And I think now Kate and Camilla are a key part of her inner circle.
Will Harry be coming back for the celebrations, do
I
you
think so, yeah.
Good.
The jury's a little bit out because of that. Do you remember that security debate? Are we going to be safe? We need Metropolitan Police protection, which has sort of put a question mark over whether Meghan and the children will come. But they've all been invited.
Be here, won't he?
But I think, of course, Prince Harry will be here.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Thanks,
good.
Camilla.
Thank you,
very
girls.
much. Thank
Have
you.
a good show.
Thank you.
Loving this girl power.
Same.
Much as we miss Phil. Loving this girl power.
Thanks, Camilla.